So E3 is well underway. So many games, trailers, gameplay footage, and so much more. We have been treated to so many exciting things this season, one of them being a new Star Wars Battlefront game. While the first game might have been lacking in some aspects, this sequel promises to give much more. With so many awesome features like classes, heroes, and vehicles, there is no way they could fit all of that in a 12-minute press conference. So we here at The Gamer are counting down some things about Star Wars Battlefront 2 that the press conference left out. Before we begin, don't forget to use the Force and push that subscribe button to The Gamer for more awesome videos. The Force is strong in this list. The story mode. The Achilles heel of multiplayer exclusive games is that the single-player storyline is more of an afterthought nowadays. It is quite common nowadays for multiplayer games to have a single-player mode that is reduced to just a few boring bot matches. This is usually done so the player can get acclimated to playing online. Star Wars Battlefront 2 promises to kick that up a notch with an in-depth story mode that spans all three Star Wars eras, the prequels, the original trilogy, and the new films. There is just one thing though. We were never really shown what the single-player mode would offer or how in-depth it really was. Well, we can get a little more information off the floor by looking at who made the campaign mode. The story mode for the game will be made by Motive Studios in Montreal. They're a relatively new studio that is working closely with DICE in order to make a single-player mode that works seamlessly with multiplayer while making the two modes distinct and engaging. And while people will be buying Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the couch co-op, split screen, and other multiplayer modes, a solid single-player campaign will further justify that full $60 price tag. Weapon versatility. Throughout the entire Star Wars universe, one of the most iconic sounds is the blaster firing. Second only to the sounds of a lightsaber moving through the air, the blasters in Star Wars are recognizable to just about anyone. With the first game, the blasters functioned a lot like the ones in the movie, and it quickly became boring. All the guns basically did the same thing and worked on a heat system rather than ammo. In Star Wars Battlefront 2, things are reworked from the ground up. The conference touched on the concept of classes and playing different roles, but off the floor, other sources went deeper as to what the weapons could really do. For starters, guns now have different active reloads depending on which class. Borrowing from the Gears of War franchise, a player can reload their gun in such a way that it benefits them more with extra damage or ammo. Each class and gun has a different active reload that fits with the class. A failed reload will give a player a standard hard reload, while a perfect one will benefit them. It is a mechanic that brings a lot of strategy and precision to the game that sets it apart from other multiplayer FPSs. Improved vehicle control. If we want to talk about memorable moments in the Star Wars franchise, none are more memorable than the space battles. In Star Wars Battlefront 2, they have reworked the vehicle combat to be more engaging and fun. With a new battle point system, a player can take control of a Naboo fighter or any number of vehicles. Unlike the first game, however, they are going to be easier to control. They touched upon this in the conference, but it wasn't until we got out onto the floor did we see the full scope of the improvements to vehicle combat. For starters, the ability to roll left and right as well as adjust to the horizon has been made a whole lot easier. An example of this would be comparing the rolls in the first game with the new one. Before, the controls were so stiff that getting out of the roll was a fight in and of itself. But now players have an easier time adjusting their plane of vision and getting out of them faster. Smooth like butter. Another much needed improvement that the conference didn't mention was that the ships now have recharging shields. Now players can last more than just one dogfight in the air without having to worry about a limited health bar. The plot. So we have been told that the story mode for Star Wars Battlefront 2 will be an amazing experience and a vast improvement from the last game, mostly because the last game didn't really have a single-player mode. While the game will span over all three eras of Star Wars, the story mode thus far will focus on the newest era of Star Wars, specifically after Return of the Jedi. The players will be playing the role of Commander Iden Versio, a special Imperial commando. This means that there is no character creation. Sorry to anyone who wanted to put their Star Wars OC in the game. Motive Studios, the people behind creating the story mode, worked closely with Lucasfilms to recreate a truly unique Star Wars experience. The story takes place right after the Death Star 2 blew up. Yeah, apparently it is called the Death Star 2. Thanks a lot, George. And the Emperor is dead. However, like all great leaders, the Emperor has a contingency plan in the event of his death, and that is where Iden comes in. Interestingly enough, the first time one of the Emperor's messengers appeared was in the not very well-known Princess Leia comic series. This is the first time Disney or LucasArts has expanded on the idea of Operation Cinder, and we're really interested to see where it goes. With the addition of the story mode and having it be an in-depth look at the Star Wars lore, DICE and EA are really adding to the world of Star Wars. The full roster of heroes. The number of heroes in Star Wars Battlefront 2 will be insane. We already have returning heroes like Han Solo and Boba Fett featured in gameplay trailers. We also have new heroes from the latest films like Rey and Kylo Ren. We even have some heroes from the prequels like Darth Maul entering the fight. However, that is not all we are getting. While the press conference showed us the above-mentioned heroes, there are a few heroes that will be in the game that were not featured in the press conference. Heroes like Yoda and Luke will be making a comeback. Each hero will also be customizable with skills that can be swapped out. All this and more will be promised, but one thing that is unclear is the complete roster. Sure, the EA press conference hinted that Phasma and Finn will be in the game, but they have also promised that more heroes will be coming along with maps and weapons in the upcoming season of DLC that is free. I repeat, free. You thinking Ben Kenobi could join in on this fight? Qui-Gon Jinn? The possibilities are endless. Dare I say it? Could Jar Jar Binks be in the play? I shudder at the possibility. Paid content. In today's world of modern and mobile games, developers like to put in as many opportunities for paid content as possible. Whether this is done through DLC or microtransactions, players have had a pretty knee-jerk reaction to paying for extra content. That was until E3, when EA announced that Star Wars Battlefront 2 will have all its DLC be free. This includes maps, heroes, weapons, and characters. Everything. Well, maybe not everything. While the motto behind this move to release DLC is to ensure everyone plays together, there are still some items of DLC that players will have to buy. One of these microtransactions in the game will be the ability to buy progress. As it stands, a player can play the game to earn in-game currency and progress that way. Or if the player is not able to play for a week, then they can pay real money to accelerate the process. While it may seem unfair to some that a player can simply progress using real-world currency, it does not affect the community's ability to play the game. I think the important thing to take away from all of this is at the end of the day, the community still gets to play united. Droid. Now, we have already been given a great look at the single-player story mode. From what both the conference has shown us and what other outlets on the play floor have shown us, EA and DICE have pulled out all the stops. Iden looks to be a great character for the player to use as they explore the galaxy of Star Wars. The missions involve utilizing vehicles and completing different objectives, all while you are in control of Iden. However, there is more to the story than just controlling one character. Throughout the story mode, Iden has a small probe droid on her back, which she affectionately refers to as Jester Droid. Wouldn't want to give it a cute name like R2-D2 or something so you can get attached. And in several instances during the campaign, you will be in control of this tiny probe to perform special functions like stunning enemies and scanning the area. While it may not be an R2 unit, Droid is capable of hacking into systems for Iden. It is extra features like this that really set the single player apart from the other big-name multiplayer shooters like Titanfall 2 and Halo 5. Branching paths and little things. Sometimes the little things in a game can make or break the experience. Whether it is a simple reference or a small little aesthetic detail, players appreciate the polish that a game can have. In the story mode for Battlefront 2, you will have the ability to shoot door controls to stop enemies from pursuing you. We know that doesn't sound like much, but considering a lot of famous scenes in the original Star Wars trilogy involve characters shooting controls to make an escape, it is a move that has become quintessential to Star Wars. Of course, DICE and EA are not just satisfied with putting in little quirks that make the story more engaging. No, they are committed to making a story mode that is just as good as the multiplayer, and what better way to do that than give the player options? A game that is merely a hallway simulator is boring. Looking at you, Final Fantasy XIII. And giving the player more agency is welcome. In some levels during the story mode, the player is given the option to traverse the level the way they would like, choosing from a few options depending on their playstyle. When you give the player these kinds of options, it makes for a more invested game and will give them another reason to keep playing. The classes. So we got a look at the new class system for Battlefront 2. Unlike the first game, players will now get to choose a specialized class in a squad of 4. The press conference touched lightly upon the different classes but never really went into detail. For the troopers, there are 4 classes: the Assault, Heavy Trooper, Officer, and Specialist. The Assault Trooper is a short to medium range unit that excels at flanking and moving the front lines forward. They are used more for clearing an enemy out for other units to control and hold. The Heavy Trooper is the big guy with a bigger gun, laying down suppressing fire and holding the line against attacks. The Heavy is perfect for defense and offense. The Officers are your supports. They apply buffs and hold the team together. That said, they also impact the battlefield by deploying tactical turret guns. Finally, the Specialist, the Trickster class. These guys can set traps for the enemy, sabotage your enemy intelligence, and locations that can give your team the edge. They are perfect for defense and thwarting your enemy's attempts to breach your perimeter. With these 4 core roles, no one is left out of the fun in multiplayer and everyone's playstyle is represented. Sweepstakes. Of course, what would this monumental game be without a giveaway? In the E3 press release, they talked about a special pre-order gift for those who thought ahead to get the game, but EA held a sweepstakes and offered a limited edition Star Wars Battlefront 2 PlayStation bundle. The contest was announced at the galaxy-wide premiere of Star Wars Battlefront 2 livestream, and 2 lucky players at the panel received Star Wars Battlefront 2 Deluxe Edition as well as a copy of the original game and a PlayStation 4 Pro. Now, that may seem a little disheartening for the rest of us who are just now hearing about this and can't join? Well, it would be if it wasn't for the fact that EA is relaunching the contest now for the launch of Star Wars Battlefront 2. How do you enter? Well, all you have to do is follow @EA Star Wars and tweet out your favorite thing about the upcoming game using the hashtags SW Battlefront 2 PS4 and EA Sweepstakes in your tweet. Be sure to give us a follow too while you're there. It means a lot to us. You could even tweet us your favorite video from the gamer. And that was 10 things about Star Wars Battlefront 2. What do you think of the new Star Wars game? Will it be better than the first? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe to The Gamer and to also check out our playlists for more videos. Thanks for watching.